In the Soviet Union, he was a role model, a respected teacher, the head of a youth club. Parents trusted him with their most precious possession, their children. But no one could have guessed that this man was filming death. His films were not educational reels, but documentary records of suffering. This is the story of Anatoly Slivko, a teacher, a murderer, and perhaps one of the most depraved serial killers in Soviet history. He filmed everything, and it was this very footage that led him to the execution chamber. Anatoly Slivko was born in late 1938, the south of the Soviet Union, in the small Dagestani town of Izberbash. He was a sickly child, withdrawn, raised by distant parents. From an early age, he craved recognition, loved to finally be seen. After school came the army, then a factory job, nothing out of the ordinary. But in 1961, an event occurred that would forever alter his psyche. The young Slivko witnessed a car accident. Before his eyes, a teenager in a young pioneer uniform was hit by a motorcycle. The smell of gasoline, blood, and the child's uniform became for him something unbearably alluring. That moment became his fetish. It was then that the image was born in his mind, an image he would attempt to recreate again and again. In the mid-1960, Slivko moved to the city of Novinominsk. He got a job at the Young Pioneers Palace and founded a tourist club. He named it Chergid, an acronym for Through Rivers, Mountains, and Valleys. There, he taught teenagers survival skills, led hiking trips, and filmed their exploits. He became a local celebrity, known as a kind mentor, intellectual, quiet. Parents were proud that their children were under his guidance. But this very image was his mask. He was building trust. He was creating a world where every boy felt like a hero. And when the trust was absolute, the game would begin. Slivko offered his students participation in what he called scientific experiments. He claimed they were endurance training. He said he was helping them temporarily lose consciousness to develop their bodies. He would hang boys by their necks, controlling the process, recording everything on film. First for a few seconds, then for minutes. He became aroused from watching a child lose consciousness. Sometimes he would revive them. Sometimes he would not. The first death occurred in 1964, but Slivko managed to cover it up. He convinced everyone the boy had run away. After that, he understood the system would not stop him. And he continued. He filmed every crime, archived the footage, numbered the tapes. His collection grew to dozens of reels and hundreds of photographs of children he referred to as his actors. His victims were boys between the ages of 11 and 16. He specifically targeted those searching for a father figure, for recognition, for friendship. He would spend hours talking to them about hiking, about masculine strength, about tempering the spirit, and then he would lead them into the woods. Each time, he followed the same script: the rope, the uniform, the camera. At some point, he stopped filming just experiments. He began filming death. In total, Slivko murdered 7 boys and assaulted more than 30 others. And all the while, he continued to receive awards. He attended party meetings. He was featured on television as a model educator. His smile concealed a monster. One of his students, a 16-year-old named Sergei Pavlov, disappeared. He was last seen heading to Slivko's club. Investigators found no evidence. but a prosecutor named Tamara Langwova decided to dig deeper. She was alarmed by a pattern. Too many missing teenagers, all seemingly connected to tourist clubs. When they searched Slivko's home and club, they found what no one expected. In the closets, boxes of shoes, in the basement cameras, photo equipment, tools, and in the dark room, dozens of film reels. On those reels was everything. Boys suspended, lifeless bodies, and Slivko's own face, calmly observing the scene. He did not deny it. He told them everything, confessed to 7 murders, led them to the burial sites, and said, "I wanted to understand the boundary between life and death." The trial began in the summer of 1986. The courtroom was packed. The victims' parents demanded the death penalty. Psychiatric experts declared Slivko sane. He understood what he had done. The verdict: execution by firing squad. In 1989, in a prison in Novocherkassk, the sentence was carried out. Slivko's final words remain unknown, but his films survived. They were never shown to the public. Investigators who saw them stated, even professionals couldn't watch them to the end. What creates a monster? Psychologists believe Slivko was a classic example of a latent sadist, a man who craved control, not death. He was aroused not by pain, but by the power over life itself. His crimes were meticulously planned, with distinct ritualistic elements. In Soviet society, the topic of sexual violence was taboo. That's why no one suspected him. He exploited trust, the system, and his own reputation to enable his murders. He wasn't a monster lurking in a dark alley. He was a monster in a tie, with a smile and a teacher's ID. And that is precisely why he remained invisible for so long. The story of Anatoly Slivko is more than just a tale of a serial killer. It is a story about trust, about how easily evil can hide behind a mask of virtue, and about how the most terrifying things are not always those that happen in the darkness, but those that happen in the light. In plain sight, he wanted to be a director, and he became one. It's just that his films are ones nobody wants to watch. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you found this interesting. Your support helps us tell these complex stories. See you again.